Hello, YouTube friends. Welcome back to my channel. James here. And with all the buzz surrounding Substack over the past year, it begs an important question. Is publishing on the former top spot for online writers, the blog site medium.com, still worth it in 2025? In this video, I'm going to run you through my earnings for the first half of the year. Then we'll discuss some changes that have occurred on the platform since the start of 2025. And finally, we'll go over the pros and cons of writing on Medium, and I'll give you my final verdict. Now, from what I can gather, I'm likely one of the highest earning writers on Medium in 2025, and that didn't come quickly or easily. I've published close to 600 articles, and August will mark 3 full years on the platform, and in that time, I've managed to accumulate about 36,000 subscribers. It also required sticking with it throughout periods of massive earnings upheaval, which caused a lot of folks with higher profiles and higher earnings than me to quit in a huff. But by sticking it out and never getting locked into one type of content, I've managed to create a pretty nice side business for myself there. Now, here's what I've earned writing on medium.com over the past 10 months. And you can see some variation there. Started a bit low at the start of the year, relatively, due to some changes with the earnings there. And then it's been a steady 3,000 to 4,000 over the past 4 or 5 months. So based on those numbers, you might suspect that the answer to the question that I pose in the headline of this video, is Medium worth it in 2025, is a resounding yes, but I'd say not so fast. Let's talk about the pros and cons of the platform first, because it certainly isn't for everyone. Now, in my opinion, there's 2 main advantages that make Medium the ultimate starter platform for people interested in joining the content game. Number one is a low bar for entry. So whereas, say on YouTube, you need to have some specialized knowledge around filming or editing videos, you need recording equipment, you need software, and any other number of things, all you really need to get started on Medium is a Chromebook and an internet connection. You write, you publish, and you're done. So Medium advantage number 2 is that you can start getting paid right away. Now, this point is extremely important. Most people quickly quit their entrepreneurial endeavors because they don't see immediate success or payoff. They put in hours and hours of free work in total obscurity, and then they surrender within days or weeks to the one phrase that has sunk countless potential millionaire entrepreneurs: this is dumb. Now, whereas it can take years to build a significant audience on, say, Substack, and just as long to get monetized on YouTube, it took me about 11 months, you can start earning on Medium on day 1. And this is extremely important because it has the potential to motivate you to keep working during the early stage grind of building a business. Now, let's talk about the one biggest drawback of Medium. So I wrote a post on my Substack newsletter about that, and here's what I wrote. One of the major benefits of Substack is this: you know how many subscribers you have, and you know how much you charge for a subscription, and you know what Substack takes as a cut. Ergo, you know your income will be smooth and steady as long as you stay consistent. Contrast that with Medium, which has now developed something of a reputation for sudden catastrophic pay cuts for writers. Although Medium always says it hasn't changed the proportion of money it pays out to writers each time this happens, they're constantly tinkering with their pay algorithm, and that can have devastating consequences. Now, the first time it happened since I've been there was when they flipped over to the new Medium Partner Program in August of 2023. The site suddenly decided to start paying mostly for the number of comments a story would generate, as opposed to more fair measures like read time and retention, and this devastated many of the site's top writers, including me. I saw a 70% pay cut overnight, for example. The second time it happened was this past December, January, as I mentioned at the top when you saw my earnings there, when I saw my RPM, or revenue per 1,000 views, fall from over $30 down to $15, and on one crushing day in particular, all the way down to $8. And that's when I almost quit Medium. Now, fortunately, the powers that be realized the main problems in each case and slowly but surely rectified them. Now, the biggest advantage of Substack over Medium, and I'll admit it's a doozy, is income certainty. Now, let's talk about the real trick to succeeding on Medium. The real trick to succeeding on Medium is to be consistent, yes, but perhaps more importantly is to be versatile. So let me leave you with a couple of cautionary tales before you decide whether or not to take the leap on Medium or any content platform. Now, lots of big-name writers quit the site because they all wrote the same type of articles every day, day after day, even after it stopped working. And in fact, one writer in particular basically rewrote the same how to make money writing on the side article every day for over a year. And it did work for a while. Their work was being aggressively pushed out by the algorithm, and they were earning many thousands per month, and make money online content pretty much flooded everyone's feed all day, every day. But if there's one constant on Medium, it's change. Now, management and with it content priorities changed, and the algorithm has changed more times than I can remember. Now, those who remain extremely nimble also experience those setbacks, but they bounce back fairly quickly. And those who kept doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result lamented their poor numbers and eventually quit. Now, take me, for example. When I started out on Medium, I wrote almost exclusively about my quest to quit alcohol. And then, as I found success, I started to write about how to make money on Medium, which is what everybody was doing there. And eventually, I shifted to more general health topics, which did huge numbers at the time. And now I write primarily about business and the economy with some relationship content thrown in. So, what will I be writing next week? Who knows? Whatever people want and whatever the algo rewards for me, I'll give it to them. But the key is to constantly try new things, review your own content, and stay in tune with what is and isn't working. Now, before you crack on Medium for that kind of inconsistency, know that it's something that happens all the time on every platform. So when I started out writing on Medium in 2022, the hottest name on YouTube was a guy named Josh Mayo. And at the height of his popularity, he was earning over $500,000 a year from YouTube and associated affiliate marketing, as his videos regularly drew in hundreds of thousands of views in a very lucrative niche at the time. But as with the writer who wrote the same article every day on Medium, people eventually got tired of it, interests changed, and the algos changed with them. Now, I checked out Mayo's channel recently. As recently as 2 years ago, he was posting videos with titles like 4 Side Hustles That No One Is Talking About, $900 plus per day, and they were doing numbers like 5 million views, 3.3 million views, and 1.4 million views. And here's what his last 6 videos have gotten. And while that's not terrible, it's a far cry from 5 million, which may be why he's only posted once in the last few months. So the thing to remember here is, even if you reach great heights, whether it's on YouTube, Medium, or anywhere else, it's important to remember that nothing stays static for long in the content game. You definitely want to strike while the iron's hot, but you also don't want to eventually fashion that iron into a cage that keeps you trapped in one single strategy or topic. Hey folks, let me know in the comments, do you think Medium's worth it? Have you tried it? If you haven't tried it yet, what's holding you back? And let me know too your thoughts on Substack, if you think that it's a more positive and successful platform in 2025. Folks, thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll talk to you again soon.